Now I know what you're thinking. Why the Banjo-Kazooie music, right? Well, I need this music. I need this music to make this video. Because I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. Who wants to be here? Who wants to be on the full Phoenix Games video games video? No one. No one wants to be here. I don't want to be here. And yet I'm here making it. Making it on the 40 plus games that came out in 2006. I think I've lost my mind. I think I honestly have lost my mind. But here it is. Here we go. Let's go. Let's just go, shall we? Yeah. So this video, I'm going to be looking at every single game that came out in 2006 for Phoenix. That was published by Phoenix Games. Now keep in mind, this takes a little bit of liberties here because I'm using the Game FAQ's release date algorithm, whatever you want to call it, thing it's got up on there. But a lot of the games just simply have the year 2006 on it, and then some of these games also got released in Australia, but got released in Australia on a different date. I'm using European dates, I'm not using the Australian dates. So yeah, there's that too. So okay, yeah, let's just go, right? This video is going to be too long as it is, so let's just jump straight into it and get it out of the way, right? Let's go, okay? Let's go! So let's get this party started with Saint and Sinner, a puzzle game which where you just like match these, like, I don't know, these strange little spirits. So basically, yeah, it's a puzzle game where you play as, I think, some kind of angel or something, and you're fighting some snowman, I don't know, evil creatures, and you gotta match up these like good and bad spirits. So the good spirits are white, the bad spirits are black. I don't know why, but that's how it is. And you gotta match them up, get them in order. It's yeah, it's kind of like I'm thinking like maybe like kind of like Reversey or something in a way. I seem to vaguely, like, in my head I feel like I've played a game like this before, right? Where it has a similar concept. So as you can see there, I just smacked that and got all those. You got to kind of pair them together. I don't know. It's a bit too confusing for me. I think I'm not really into these kind of puzzle games. Is it a good game? Not really. It's kind of boring. Yeah, that's all I really have to say. It's really boring. That's about it. Next is Search and Destroy, developed by Mere Mortals. It is a top-down, vertical scrolling shooter, which is probably one of the easiest shooters out there. You don't die in one hit, like in most of them. You actually have like a health bar, so you have a reasonable amount of hits you can have before you die. But all of the enemies move really slowly. Don't get me wrong, there's power-ups you can get that can kind of change the way your bullets go and whatnot, and you get shields and stuff. But as you can tell, look at this, right? It's very bland. You got a very bland, very boring backgrounds. Like, enemies are slow. Pretty much the kind of things you don't want to be in this type of game. These type of games are supposed to be challenging. They're not supposed to be so slow that Grandpa can play, right? So yeah, that's Search and Destroy. Again, boring, slow, and not worth your time. Next is London Cab Challenge, a game which I actually had way more fun than I should have had in. Basically, the game's like Taxi Rider. Remember me playing Taxi Rider for the Simple 2000 series? You go around, you follow the arrow to where the arrow shows you where a customer is, you pick up the customer, and then you drop him off at another arrow. Boom, bam, bim. Yeah, it's Taxi Rider, but much more bland and much more boring with no story. Literally, no story. You have this PDA thing that comes down every now and then, which, let's be honest, is kind of annoying. You got a fairly big map to play around with, but then again, it's a very basic and very kind of boring map. There isn't anything there. The only thing you can really have fun with in this game is the physics. The physics are kind of fucked. So you can, like, look at me here, I'm jamming myself, I'm in the lamppost, and boom, and it shoots me off like that. So you can have a lot of fun with the physics. You can also smash into other vehicles, and they can go flying sometimes. But yeah, that's about it, really. Next up is 21 Card Games, which has 21 card games. I had more fun looking at the character selection screen than I did actually playing the game. There's a lot of interesting portraits here. So, you got your standard games, you got some blackjack, you got rummy, you've got Crazy Eight, you've got poker, Texas Hold'em. You got, again, 21 card games. But it's all kind of boring because you just have this green background where you just play the card games. Again, they're all functional. Don't get me wrong. All of the card games that you can pick are all functional. I still stand by the best thing about this game is the character portraits. Like, look at Jim Bob Bernard, and my favorite character, which I picked, Spoons. He is the best. He is the best of the characters. So yeah, I have nothing else to say. It is a really bland, really boring card games video game where you can play 21 different card games. That's literally it, right? That's all it is. It's boring. Don't bother. That's it. Next up, we have Puzzle Party, which features 10 party games. So fun. Here we go. You see that? We've got 10 games that you can pick from, and all of them are kind of bland and very boring. I'm not even joking. So here's one. Here's a game. So yeah, you gotta kind of like, it's 4-way Tetris, right? You have Tetris blocks going in different directions. I don't know exactly what you're supposed to do, but how am I supposed to get something in the corner there to be able to match them up? It's just not possible. As you can see, I've kind of buggered myself up in that scenario. Another one is Connect 4, but a really obscure, weird Connect 4. Like, look at this, right? I find this camera angle disorientating, don't you? Kind of trying to pick which lane you're supposed to be in. But yeah, Connect 4, and then you got this one, which is Ball Smasher, where you smash balls together. My balls. Okay, I don't know. You move these candy pellets, whatever these are supposed to be, colored stones, and yeah, it's boring, don't play it. Next up, we have Manic Mole, a extremely boring 3D platformer, or 2D platformer. I guess you could tell this is a 2D platformer, right? Where you play as a manic mole, right? Which goes around and shoots, I don't know, gas at these creatures. So you just go around a house doing the most mundane, boring platforming possible with jumps that you just barely make it. Shoot the Potato Man you just saw there. I don't know what that is. I'm just going to call him the Potato Man. He just makes sounds like... That's the kind of sounds that enemy makes, by the way. And fight mosquitoes, avoid stupid traps that barely... Like that one there with the steam thing, which gives you next to no time to react to it or get over it. Go around collecting weird vegetables like chilies and radishes and I don't know. It's a strange game. It doesn't play particularly well. It's very clunky. Yeah, don't bother. Just don't bother. Welcome to Carwash Tycoon. How does it sound to play the most mundane, boring tycoon game in existence? Where to the point where I wouldn't even consider it a tycoon game of any degree because it's just so basic. There is literally no thought process that needs to go into this game whatsoever, right? I can literally play the whole entire game like this. So basically, you have a car washing business. You hire employees. You clean cars yourself. Right now, as you can see, I just got an employee there cleaning the car. You can change the prices, whatever. But it's really, really boring. It is really boring. This is the first game in the old collection. That's developed by Aqua Pacific, and we'll see a lot of them. They're the ones that made all those really shitty, like Snow White and the Seven Clever Boys kind of shit, you know. And we'll get to that. But yeah, Carwash Tycoon, not worth your time. Really shitty tycoon game. Next is the only other tycoon game by Aqua Pacific, and that is Chemist Tycoon. An arguably, in my opinion, worse game than Carwash Tycoon. Carwash Tycoon was simple, but at least you understood what you were doing. This game, I think, it's just boring. It's just boring. It kind of does a little bit complicated, but at the same time, it isn't. So basically, you're a chemist, and you run a chemist shop, and you're supposed to get customers. That's pretty much what it is. You know, when you're in the shop scene, customers come in, they ask you for certain products, you go and take them off the shelves, and then you give them to the customer, and you make money. Yeah. But if you run out of that said product, you got to go into your little chemist machine or whatever and mix chemicals and ingredients together to make those products. And that's the entire game. It's very boring. You know, at least with Carwash Tycoon, I know, fairness, actually, I don't know why I'm actually saying that about Carwash Tycoon. They're both shit. Next up is Snow Rider. You wouldn't be able to tell that, though. Look at the main menu screen. You wouldn't know that. That just boots up like that, right? No name, no nothing. You wouldn't know it's Snow Rider. But yeah, this is Snow Rider. Welcome to an extremely janky, extremely shit snowboarding game. And I mean it, right? The physics in this game don't make no sense, right? You could be going up look, I'm going at a relatively somewhat decent speed right now, but as soon as I hit a slight incline, boom, your momentum dies, and the boost thing that you can, like, collectible you can get during, like, the courses doesn't even really feel like you're boosting. So yeah, there's that. So basically, you got like 3 different things you can do. You can go through like gates, you can collect coins, and yeah, and you can do like a time attack mode. It's kind of boring. It's really basic, really boring snowboarding game, and that's really all I have to say about it. That's it. Next up is G-Force, a racing game of some kind. Oh wait a second, my mistake. It's not a racing game. You can guess you could kind of say this is a singular racing game, because you don't go up against other people. Oh no no no. Even though this is a racing game, you're on your own. So you're kind of wakeboarding kind of thing. You know, remember Burnstrick wakeboarding that I played? That you know, that was an actual good game of that sport. Well, guess what isn't? This. It's really boring. It's really boring. It's really basic. You gotta just go around, collect stars to build your score up while you go through each of the 3 laps. But why bother having kind of a lap system to begin with, right? Because you're not versing anyone. You're the only one here. I don't get it. I really don't. It's really, really boring. Look at this level. Look how bland and basic this level is. Yeah, just not worth your time. It's just G-Force, yeah? At least it hasn't got any guinea pigs. Next up is Arcade USA, a game which features 2 games, air hockey and bowling. That's it. Air hockey and bowling. Now, I will give credit where credit is due, right? I haven't played many air hockey video games, right? But this game plays better than the Simple 1500 series air hockey game. It actually does, because you can actually move your paddle at a fairly decent speed. Does it make the air hockey being a video game good? No, it doesn't. It's still dog shit, right? And then you got bowling, which is literally some of the most basic bowling you could ever imagine. Look at this. Look how it's just basic bowling. There is nothing to say about it. Mechanically, the bowling is fine. Mechanically, the bowling is sound. There is not, you know, it's not like the worst bowling game I've ever played. But still, it's not trying to innovate itself anywhere. It's just being basic and boring. A basic bitch. And that's it. That's Arcade US. Oh dear. Next up, we have Literates. Look at this. Honestly, what the fuck? Come on. Come on, Phoenix Games. So it's, I guess this is a light gun game of some kind where you shoot jelly beans out of the sky or something like that. Yeah, you shoot jelly beans. How exciting, right? And I mean, like, this is the entire game, right? You have some backdrop and jelly beans fly across the screen in some way, shape, or form, you know, whether parachutes, jetpacks, planes, whatever, and you shoot them. Does it work? Sure, it works. Is it good? No fucking way is it good. It is complete, utter waste of time. And that's it. That's Obliterate. What else is there to say? It's just basic, boring, and a waste of your time and mine. Let's go. Guess what got a sequel? Yeah, Robin Hood the Siege 2. If you're interested in the story, there you go, there's a story. And here's the game. Yeah, it didn't work very well on the emulator. It was working at like 200% speed, but it's similar to the previous game I just talked about, where I guess it's a light gun game. I'd be surprised if they don't actually add a functionality of a light gun in this game, even though it is technically a light gun game. Is it a good game? No, it's not. It's just as bad, if not worse, than Obliterate. And is it literally, I'm not even joking, the same game as Robin Hood the Siege was on the PlayStation 1? Pretty much, with just slightly better sprites for the archers and whatever other shit's on the screen. Yeah, sure, but is it like pretty much identical functionally as the previous game? Yeah, just the sprites are slightly nicer. That's all it is. It's a piece of shit. Don't play it. It's a waste of your time. Don't play it. Hey, you'll like this one, right? Guess what they decided to do? Wait for it, boom! There you go. Just sit back and just look at this. What is this? Did they actually pull the same goddamn thing that Altair Double did on the Simple 1500 series? Yes, they did. They reused the same courses and the same kind of fucking gameplay with the same shitty jankiness as Snow Rider, but change it to skiing. Change it from snowboarding to skiing. It's the same thing the Simple 1500 series did. Same thing Altair Double did with the Simple 1500 series with Snowboard Racer. They did a snowboarding game, the snowboarding, then they did the ski, and it was literally the same game. The same levels, the same environments, the same mechanics, just now you gotta ski instead there's a snowboard. It's dog shit. It's, fuck me, I don't know how they can get away with this sometimes. I actually could not believe it when I saw this. So this is Combat Ace, and wait for it, boom! There you go. How about that? It's it's Air Raid 3. I'm not even joking, it's Air Raid 3, but they've changed it from being a jet to just a plane, like a biplane. That's it. It's exactly the same game. It's exactly the same game. And I can't believe it. I'm at this point, I'm at a point now where I don't believe that mere mortals are the ones developing these games. I believe that Nap's team is the developer of this. I'm pretty sure. And the reason why I say I'm pretty sure is because this one is actually listed as being Nap's team as the developer, so I'm pretty sure Air Raid 3, even though Air Raid 3 says mere mortals on Game FAQs, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Nap's team. Right. But yeah, barrel roll doesn't work, it plays like shit, the enemies literally destroy you, you don't have a chance, it's shit, don't. The next game is something that Aqua Pacific is more well known for, besides the Tycoon games. Their own movie games. Just like the Code Monkeys, Aqua Pacific did the exact same thing, but I kind of feel like they made these movies themselves, because these movies are like, I don't know, 5 minutes. So this is Cinderella. It's going really fast because the emulator doesn't emulate these Aqua Pacific movie games very well. But it's like a mix of 2D animation with a 3D backgrounds. It tells the story of Cinderella in a different light. It's not exactly the same. It's more of a modern day Cinderella. And is it good? No, it's not. It's not good. It's the same trash that you'd get from the Code Monkeys. Like, here you go. Here's some puzzles. You want to play some puzzles? There's some puzzles right there. You know? It has all the standard games that you have. Want memory game? Here's a memory game. Same games as a Dingo Pictures game. It's a waste of time and you're... Next up is another mere mortals racing game, D-Unit Drift Racing, a racing game where drifting has little to no actual implementation in the game whatsoever. You slide a little. That's it. And I can guarantee you it's just because they thought, instead of having perfect turning, let's just make the turning really shit. And it will make it look like we're drifting. Oh my god! How great! What a great idea! So yeah, it's a really basic racing game. It isn't anything special. Again, as you can see, the physics aren't exactly there. You know, it's just a really shitty racing game. I don't understand the point of that thing in the corner. You see in the bottom left hand corner. What's the point of that thing? Everything just looks like clip art is on the screen with a speedometer in that. Yeah, and it plays like shit. It does play like shit. It is not good. It is not fun. It is boring, and it has a really weird soundtrack. And that's all I have to say about it. Drag Racer USA. Now, why don't you just come here for a second, right? What was if I told you that Mere Mortals decided to release the same game again, and on the exact same day that the previous game came out? What would you say? You tell me I'm lying. Well, you're right, I am lying. But what if I told you they came out in the same month? I ain't lying then, bitch! So yeah, Phoenix Games and Mere Mortals decided it's a good idea to release this game. As you can see, it looks and it plays exactly the same as D-Unit Drift Racing. It's exactly the same game, pretty much, just the courses are slightly different. But as you can see, here's an airport level, just like previously. They just changed the courses slightly, made it drag racing instead of drift racing, and yeah, and they released it within the same month. I'm not even joking. One was released at the beginning of the month of October, and the other one was released at the end of October 2006, if I remember correctly. That's just a vague memory there. Yeah, absolute shit. Next up to the slate is KO King with an unknown developer. Like, literally, the developer isn't even listed on Game FAQs. You know, but there's a lot of Phoenix Games video games like that, but some of them you can kind of go, yeah, that's Mere Mortals, or yeah, that's Nap's team, but with this one, who knows? So, it's a boxing game. It's a really mediocre, really, it's not trash. It's not that it's functional. It works. But is it a fun boxing game? Hell no. It's basically a slugfest. You just kind of stand there, throw some jabs, some uppercuts, and that's it. And when the meter, you see that little red meter, I've got a blue one, the opponent's got a red one. When that meter goes down to 0, then it's KO at this point. Obviously, you see the little green meter there. I got an orange one. Obviously, you get that down, you knock him down 3 times within the same round, and he's out. But if you deplete his health, he's also out. So there you go, really basic. Next up is Swat Siege, and this main menu screen alone should tell you what to expect. Of course, it's a copy of the game from the Shoot collection. Oh my word, it's literally a copy. So basically, in case you're wondering, it's meant to be a light gun game, but you can play with an analog stick pretty easily. It's not exactly difficult. Yeah, it's literally the same kind of game as like Wanted was. Remember, like in the Shoot collection, you had these types of games developed by Nap's team, yeah? And then remember how they released those games separately, just with more levels for the PlayStation 1? What happens if they then just decided, oh, okay, we're going to use the exact same formula and literally not change it? Like, you have the same weapons, pistols and Uzis and shotguns, and then just maybe have a slightly better graphics, and then re-release it on the PlayStation 2. Oh, but we're going to do SWAT themed this time. Yeah, it's trash. It's fucking trash, honestly. Hey, look, it's another Aqua Pacific movie game, Hansel and Gretel. Ah, yes. But unfortunately, unlike the other game, which ran at like 200% speed, this game runs at slow motion. So obviously I didn't watch the entire film like I did with the other game, with Cinderella. And yeah, so it's what is there to say, which I haven't already said for Cinderella? It is basically a copy of the Code Monkeys games. Their movie games that they did on Dingo Pictures. At least I don't know who made this movie. Did Aqua Pacific, or did they just license this? Oh, like a 5-minute film. I mean, like literally, these films are like 5 minutes, unlike the Dingo Pictures ones. And then just decide to do the same exact thing as the Code Monkeys, and just put a bunch of mini games with it, and a nice little main menu, and that'll appeal to the kiddies and all that, But yeah. That's a reference to a later game. We'll get to that. Next up is Space Rebellion, and boom, there you go. It's the same game again. It's Air Combat 3. It's Combat Ace. It's the same game. It's a shitty fucking scrolling shooter developed by Nap's team that barrel roll system sometimes works to dodge the missiles. It's fucking chaotic. You don't know what's going on half the time. You're flying around, you got a million enemies on the goddamn screen, all shooting missiles at you. But oh no, you don't have unlimited missiles like they seem to have. It's just a mess of a game, if I be completely honest. I don't know why they keep making the same game again and again. I don't understand it. I don't understand, you think people would catch on, but I don't know, maybe they got away with it. But anyway, Space Rebellion is a waste of space. Don't play it. It's trash. I just want to add that this game doesn't exist. Snooker 147 does not exist. You'll see it on Game FAQs. You'll see it with some kind of release date. But I can guarantee you this game never came out. It's like Trans World Skateboarding. It got cancelled. It was planned to be released, but it got cancelled. I don't know why it got cancelled, but it did. So, just to let you know, in case you ever see anything about Snooker 147, this game does not exist. There you go. Let's move on. Once again, we have another Aqua Pacific movie game, Pinocchio this time around. And once again, this game does not work in an emulator. It's not like with Cinderella, that seems to be so far a one-off. I believe there is one other exception to this, but it doesn't run very well. The movie runs at like really slow speeds, right? So you can't play this in emulator. What is there to say about Pinocchio? It's the same. It's the same as the other Aqua Pacific movie games. You still have the same puzzles, slide puzzles, and other stupid shit that literally, don't matter. So it's just a waste of time to even want to play this or associate yourself with this or anything really. Just yeah, it's a waste of time. I will admit that at least the main menu of the of these games are a little bit more interesting or a little bit more kind of out there than the Code Monkeys ones, and that's about it really. Ask yourself, what do you get if you take Ali G and make him, I don't know, Spanish? You'd get Que Pasaneng. This guy. Look at this guy. I don't know what it is. Just everything about this guy makes me think Ali G. So, apparently this is based on like a TV show that was airing in Spain back in like when this game came out in 2006. And they decided to make a game based off it. Yeah. So the game itself is like three-dimensional Tetris, but apparently there is more than just the Tetris game. There's a bunch of different mini games. The only one I happened to play was the Tetris one, but it works fine. Functionality-wise, the Tetris game works as intended. The best thing about this game is the Que Pasaneng. You know, just saying it just makes me like a Que Pasaneng, Que Pasaneng. It's really good. Apparently that means something like some kind of like drunk, unemployed lowlife in Spanish, but don't quote me on that. Next up is another Aqua Pacific movie game, Snow White and the Seven Clever Boys, which to me just sounds like a name of a porno. I'm not gonna lie, I'm just gonna say it sounds like that. This game actually works. The movie's playing at 200% speed, just like it did with Cinderella, but at least you can watch the movie. You can actually see what's happening, comprehend what's happening. And yeah, it's literally like a bunch of kids go walking through the woods and something like that and comes across some, what they consider to be Snow White. It's like, the movie's like 5 minutes if it was running at normal speed. I got through the movie in like 2 minutes. And obviously, as always, you got the same shitty fucking minigame fucking shit that they have on here. Like the paint, let's just paint there, yeah. Let's paint it all. And slide puzzles and jigsaw puzzles and memory games. Oh, it's just, ugh. I kind of like lose what to say about these games because they're all the same and they're all just absolute dog shit. Next up is Games Galaxy 2. Now, where's Games Galaxy 1? Who knows, right? Oh dear. So this is a collection of games, a lot of different games, and they're all dog shit, right? You know, like look at this one, you know, just a little flapper thing. You got the pipes. You got pipes in here. If I be completely honest with you, this whole entire game collection, I had to go on quite a few games here, right? Quite a few games. But every single game just kind of feels like they opened up miniclip.com on their browser and just looked at some of the best trending games and said, let's just make 3D versions of these games and call it a day. I'm not even joking. There is just some like really strange choices for games. Like, look at this next one that's going to come up. Boom. Snake. They fucking opened up their Nokia 310 and went, yeah, let's do Snake. Let's do Snake. Snack. Let's do Snack. Functionality-wise, it's okay, but yeah, it's unimaginative. WWC World Wrestling Championship. That's a better main menu screen. Look at that. That's the box art. That's the better main menu screen right there. Okay, so imagine if you took KO King and said, oh, now you can do wrestling moves. WWC, that's exactly what you wanted. You wanted that? There you go. You wanted KO King, but being able to do wrestling moves and maybe some kicks there as well. There you go. It is literally the Simple 1500 series equivalent of making fucking video games. You know, when I said about boxing, and then they released kickboxing, it's like, oh, look, it's boxing, but with kicks. And I know they're completely different sports, don't get me wrong, but actually functionally as a game, that's all it was. And this is exactly the same. Like, this is not like an in-depth wrestling video game. He's literally just added wrestling moves to KO King. That's basically all they've done. It's dog shit. It is really. Next up is Countryside Bears, a Code Monkeys video game. It's another movie game, and oh, guess what? Woo! I'm so excited, right? So excited. Look at him. He's so excited to hear this, right? This is the same game as the PlayStation 1 game. Winky and the Little Bear, this is that game. I'm not even joking. This is that game. It's the same game, but on PlayStation 2, and you'll see a trend. You'll see a trend like that quite a lot, because we got a couple more of these games coming up next. Another 3 of these games coming up next after this one in the same video, and they're all the same. They're all just They're all just ports from the PlayStation 1 version to the PlayStation 2. That's all they are. It's lazy, it's terrible, and yeah. Well, I ain't got nothing else to say on it. It's just a lazy, boring, terrible attempt. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Next up is Dalmatians 3. It's exactly the same as what I said previously. It's a Code Monkeys movie game. Yeah, and it is, by the way, a copy of the Dalmatians 2 or whatever the hell it was that they released on the PlayStation 1. It's exactly the same game. Okay, let's move on. Next up is Dinosaur Adventure, and once again, it's the same. It's the same as Dinosaurs for the PlayStation 1. It's another Code Monkeys movie game. Honestly, you don't care, do you? You don't care. Let's move on. How many times am I going to say, here's another Code Monkeys movie game? I know, this is the last one for a little while. We got some more at the end. This is Empire of Atlantis, and yes, it is exactly the same game as Atlantis, the Lost Continent on the PlayStation 1. It's exactly the same. There's no difference. Finally, we have something different, right? Right? Wrong. It's the same game. No, I'm joking. So this is Gorilla Strike, but as you probably can notice, it's exactly the same as Search and Destroy. Just, again, the models have been slightly changed. Instead of having a green background, we've now got brown. Whoa. But fundamentally, it plays exactly the same. There's no real difference between this and Search and Destroy. Just that you're in a different type of helicopter. I'm not even joking. And that's Gorilla Strike. Does it play pretty much the same as Search and Destroy? Yes. You know, is it still quite a slow vertical scrolling shooter? Yes. Yeah, it is. It's still very slow. I think, you know, this baby's first scrolling vertical shooter. Yeah, sure. Why not? You know. But that's about it. I have nothing more to say on it. It is a copy of Search and Destroy. It's called Gorilla Strike, and that's about it, really. Next up is Hoppy, a kind of puzzle game, I guess, where you're this rabbit with one leg, and you hop around on tiles and change them. Like, literally, the whole purpose of the game is you go around, you have to hop on each of these tiles a certain number of times, and once you've hopped to them enough times to cause whatever happens to them, whether flowers grow or you're smashing up, I don't know, dirt or whatever, then you can move on to the next stage. And that's literally the game. As you can see, it is a little bit funky. We're on the emulator. It doesn't work exactly right, but it's playable. It is what it is. You got to avoid enemies as well up here sometimes. But as you can see, I'm hopping around, changing these tiles into flowers. And once I've done all of these tiles, then we're all good. It's okay. It's nothing special of a game. It's okay. Next up is Kiddy's Party Pack, and yes, that's the actual name of the game. So basically, the Code Monkeys decided, hey, let's just take all the movie aspect out of these games and just code in some really shitty games, like side games that you can play. You want to play the jigsaw puzzles from the Code Monkeys movie games? Sure. You want to play some extra games like the Breakout, a really shitty version of Breakout? Why not? You want to make your own scenes from the movies? Here you go. You got a little scene maker where you can do stuff, which is like the most basic scene maker possible, by the way. And that's what this is. Literally, it is like the slide puzzles of like 5 different movies put into one without the movies for some reason. I don't know why the movies aren't included. But yeah, it's just the slide puzzles, the memory games, and all those things with some extras thrown into a game. And yeah, it's a waste of fucking time and existence. That's what it is. Just like with Hoppy, Jello kind of works on the emulator. Well, it works for the most part. Jello, it looks like it's made by the same developer, whoever knows what that developer is. It's probably Phoenix Games. But because I learned something interesting the other day, which I'll get to at a point at the end of the video. But yeah, so Jello, it's a match-em game. You take these little jelly jelly whales, whatever the hell these are, and you match them together, and you like power this machine, which when you like dictates your score in that. Basically, you got a timer. You got to fill up this machine. If you don't fill up the machine, and you don't match them enough, then shit happens. I don't know. It's a very basic matching game. Look at this. I'm just clicking randomly in places and basically still winning. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. If you're wondering what that is, I'm just clicking randomly and I'm still winning. You know, as per usual with these games. So yeah, that's Jello for you. Hey, want to play a racing game by mere mortals where you're driving trucks that are relatively slow trucks? Well, guess what this game's called? It's called Turbo Trucks. Because apparently these trucks are fast. This looks fast to you, doesn't it? And look, what's this? Boom! You see that? I just got hit by a tree texture. You see that tree texture? Barely within its hitbox range, but yeah, just completely destroyed. My truck is like, I don't even know how to recover from this. Emotionally, financially, I don't know how to recover from this. And then my truck continues. There isn't much to say. It's a very basic, very boring truck racing game that's called Turbo Trucks, even though there's no turbo mechanic, and it ain't fast in the slightest. It ain't no sonic speed. It's very basic courses, very basic levels, and it's just the standard shit that you would expect from a mere mortals racing game, if I be completely honest. So yeah, there you go. There's Turbo Trucks for you. Next up is Speed Machines 3, and yes, believe it or not, to my goddamn surprise, there is a Speed Machines 1 and 2. Oh my word! Oh my glory! So what is up with Speed Machines 3? Well, it's basically a Micro Machines clone. Now, look at this. This tells me Micro Machines. I imagine for most people it screams Micro Machines, but the difference is that it's like a bunch of games mixed into one, or at least like here's like pick the tractors, and you're like in snow levels driving tractors, and then you can pick another vehicle and you have some other different courses. Does it play very well? No, the controls are very finicky, are very janky, and the turning's not very good, if I be completely honest, and the camera needs to sit the fuck down, or at least sit still. The camera keeps like zooming in and zooming out and completely like disorientates you. So is it good? No, it's not good. Next up is Retro Classics, or just simply Retro, or Retro Classics, 8 arcade classics from yesteryear. This game has so many titles, right? So, in case you're wondering what this is, it's basically 8 retro-style games in a collection. You have Budget Pac-Man, Budget Asteroids. Basically, it is literally like renaming and copying old Atari 2600 games. I don't know where this game's from exactly, but I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be it's going to be ripping off some game somewhere along the line. It isn't going to be an original game, let's be honest. Like, look at this one. Oh, I wonder what game this is. Ooh, could it be Space Invaders? I wonder myself. And of course, as per usual, you gotta have Breakout. There you go. You gotta have Breakout in here. It's has to exist in some way, shape, or form in here, right? So yeah, and that's basically what retro is. That's what it is. You know, the mascot seems to be a Zippo lighter, as someone said. It's quite interesting. Yeah. It's another the Code Monkeys fucking movie games. It's Mighty Mulan, and yes, it is a copy of, I believe, The Legend of Mulan for the PlayStation 1. And that's all I'm gonna say. Let's move on. Remember Toys for the PlayStation 1? Well, guess what? That got ported as well to the PlayStation 2 as The Toys Room. And there you go. That's all I have to say on that. This is the final The Code Monkeys movie-based video game for Phoenix Games for 2006. For the 2006 collection. I swear. I fucking swear. The last couple of games, nothing to do with The Code Monkeys whatsoever. At least I hope not. Anyway. And yeah, that's wrong. You see that? See that lion kicking the coconut in that posture? And look at the crocodile. The crocodile's not no better, you know what I mean? Okay, so there you go. Let's move on into the final couple of games. Next up is Speedboat GP, and what if I told you, let's just add loads of motion blur to a game, then we would have this. Look at this. I don't know what it is, but I just found this very disorientating playing this. It felt like a lot of motion blur. Yeah. If motion blur ever makes you feel sick, this is the game for you. This is the one. So, in case you're wondering, it's a really budget, really basic boat racing game. You know, what was that? What was the one we looked at before? I've already forgotten the name of the game. Or is it G-Force, right? G-Force, yeah, that's the one. You think of G-Force, and I mean literally the courses are the same as G-Force pretty much. Like you see the physics working really well there. It's pretty much like the same kind of courses from G-Force, but now you're actually in the boat. You're not outside the boat, and that's it. I don't know what's with the big engines on the boats that don't make it go any faster. I can tell you that much. So yeah, that's that. Next up is Superbike GP. But what do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? Right? We had a bike racing game by mere mortals, or Kung Fu as they were called back then, for the PlayStation 1, and it's pretty much the same as that. It's just the graphics are slightly better. That's it. You know, does it play well? No, it doesn't play well at all. It's really basic, really janky bike controls. Like, look at it. You see me turning here, and the turning's kind of just a bit strange. Yeah, that's what I mean. You can play it for yourself. It's fucking weird. Yeah, it's Superbike GP. What else do you want? It's a really budget, basic bike racing game. That's literally it. I have nothing else to say on this game. It's budget, it's basic, and it's a bike racing game. It's Superbike GP. Next up is City Soccer Challenge, the only data design game that was released in 2006, or at least for Europe. This game, I believe, came out in Australia a year before, in 2005, but it came out in Europe in 2006. And you can probably notice already, if you're familiar with my previous videos for Phoenix Games, it looks very, very similar to the kids' ice hockey game. In other words, like the same kind of mechanics, the same kind of skill, I guess, I don't know, mechanic, I don't know. You can do you can perform like special moves in that increases your character's speed and does little things here and there. But it's basically football. That's what it is. It's soccer if you're American, and yeah, and that's it. That's it. It's just soccer. It's just you play soccer. Does it play well? It's okay. It's nothing special. It's okay. It's very bare bones, you know. And finally, we have Clumsy Shumsy. And who is that you see there? I wonder. Oh, it's me! So yeah, I played Clumsy Shumsy. It was an iToy game, which means I had to buy this game physically, unfortunately. Yeah, so I own Clumsy Shumsy physically. And do I feel ashamed for that? Yes, slightly. So it's an iToy game with very basic controls. Basically, like, you have, like, I don't know, 8 different mini games you can play. So it's trying to be a little bit like iToy play in that regard. It has a bunch of different mini games. There's not that much mini games, but the difference is that these mini games aren't very fun. You have, like, the 8 games you have are Lost Shumsies, Delicious Fireworks, which is the one you see right here, I believe, if I remember correctly. Air Traffic Controller, Know Your Colors, Big Journey, Clumsy Tennis, Clumsy Soup, and Clumsy Parachutes. Do the games play well? As you can see, I'm struggling here with this one. I was like, I'm trying to figure out what the hell am I supposed to be doing here? And you get that with a lot of these. Like, some of them are kind of self-explanatory. Like, this is pretty much Simon Says, you know, it shows you a pattern, a color pattern, and a sound pattern, and then you just got to replicate it, and that's literally the game. So yeah, you can see they put a lot of effort into these mini games. But here's a little bit of information from the back cover. So, welcome to the world of Shumsies. Meet them and join them in their fun living style in their small universe. Compete with the best of them in tennis. Calm them down when things get hot. Save them when disaster strikes. Help them cook the soup for next holidays and do many other entertaining things. Yeah, entertaining. But don't stop here. Invite your friends. Introduce them to play Shumsy. Oh no, introduce them to Shumsies and play together. Oh, absolutely beautiful. Now, the most interesting thing, in my opinion, that I took off of buying the game physically is Clumsy Shumsies hasn't got a developer listed on GameFAQs. It's listed as the developer publisher as Phoenix Games. Now, according to this game cover, Phoenix Games had its own in-house studio. I'm not even joking. At the very bottom, it says at the bottom of this case here, published by Phoenix Games Holland, which I think that's where it's based, Phoenix Games in Holland. But anyways, I thought Phoenix Games would be based in Phoenix in Texas or something, but no, okay. And it says developed by Phoenix Games Holland. Now that's interesting. So Phoenix Games actually did have an in-house development team, and at least their in-house development team was a little bit more ambitious than every other development team they work with. So here you go. You can see the mini games. You just saw like the tennis one, which is basically like Pong, and this one, which is like, I don't know, shooting meteorites out of the sky. I don't know what this one is. I can't remember what this one's. I don't know what the name of this one is. I don't know. Who knows? I know this one's Clumsy Soup. Where you just like, oh, you want onions in that in your soup. Yeah. I know I spoke a little bit more about this game because I just wanted to. I own the fucking game, so I'm gonna spend a bit more time talking about it. But yeah, it's 8 really basic, really bland, very boring mini games, and that's what it is. And it kind of makes you think that the iToy is just not really all that great anyway. Yeah, at its times, but for the most part, most iToy games were not that great. With the yeah, not that great. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. It's over? Are we done? Are we finally done? Is that all of the Phoenix Games video games? I think it is. That's all of them for 2006. Holy hell. To think there was something like 46 games. It's ridiculous. Don't get me wrong, 2007's not as bad. You're looking at, it's still like 30 odd games, but still it's not as bad as 40 games. 46 games. But still, it is a long old time playing all of these games. It took a long time. I actually had holiday from work where I can't do much. You got the old the Corona, my Corona going on around at the moment. At least when at the time of me making this video, which is in May. I know this video is coming out in June, but still, it's in May. So there's not much I can do when I'm on my holidays. But I thought, hey, let's get on. Let's play these Phoenix games. I had other games I could play as well. Playing a bit of Yakuza Kiwami 2, you know, and all that. But, you know, a bit of Rocket League. But yeah, I thought let's get on and record all the footage for these games and play all of these games. And my whole experience, you know how at the end of these videos, I normally like I do a little tier list, looks something similar, like here's a rankings of all the games of 2006. It's not going to happen this time because I'm going to be honest. All of the games of 2006 were kind of garbage. That's the real truth. It's not like before. They're all kind of garbage. So, what's the point if they all literally are garbage in their own right? There's no redeeming factors in any of these games, in my opinion. It's either mediocrity or garbage. It's the 2 rankings. So yeah, I hope you had a laugh out of this. I know this video's been really long, but again, 46 games. It's gonna be a long video. Let's be honest. So, I hope you've enjoyed somewhat and had maybe a laugh. Maybe you're playing this video in the background and just having a listen. I don't know. But either way, I hope you enjoyed. You know, please like, subscribe, and comment. You know, I always love, you know, if you're going to do any of those 3 things, I'd rather you just comment. Just comment. Just let me know what you thought of the video. Let me know if you played any of these games. You know, I'm more interested in what you think about these games. And any experience you've had with these games than I am about you liking the video and subscribing. So, if I'll be honest. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed. I've been Bio, and I'll see you in the next video, which will be in July now, I think. Because this video literally took up all of my time in June. That's the whole reason why there's 4 videos in June, is because this video took up all my time. Anyway, thanks for watching again, and I'll see you.